Hello. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible. Uh, okay, 114 students have already joined. Rest will join soon. We can start the session, but
Okay.
okay.
Hello, guys. Let us first cover the Angular life cycle hooks. Then we will go back to data sharing between components. It will be easier to understand this way. Yes. So Angular component lifecycle hooks. When the Angular application starts, it creates and renders the root component. It then creates and renders its children's and their children's. It forms a tree of components. Once Angular loads the components, it starts the process of rendering the view. To do that, it needs to check the input properties, evaluate the data bindings, expressions, render the project content, etc. Angular also removes the component from the DOM when it is no longer needed. Angular lifecycle hooks are nothing but callback functions when Angular invokes when a certain event occurs during the component lifecycle. So basically, when our application loads for the first time, then when any event happens like click event or any change happens to the DOM, the document object model, at that time in Angular, there is a cycle running that is called change detection cycle. That cycle have many methods, inbuilt methods that are called on these events. Here is the complete list of lifecycle hooks which Angular invokes during the component lifecycle. Angular invokes them with a certain event occurs. These are some lists of component lifecycles like ng on changes, ng on init, ng do check, ng after content init, ng after content checked, ng after view init, ng after view checked, and ng destroy. We will see few methods from this which are more commonly used. Let us first discuss about constructor. The lifecycle of a component begins when Angular creates the component class. First method that gets invoked is class constructor. So in our app, when our app is being loaded, it firstly goes in this main.ts file. This main.ts file is called first. Here we have bootstrap module, app module is given here. That means when this component file is loaded at first, this app module is called, this app module is our root module. That is here app module.ts. Inside here, this is called, and inside here in declaration we have given our components, app component, child 2 component that we have created. And the bootstrap, in a bootstrap, we have given app component. So bootstrap means to kickstart. So here it kickstarts the app component. The app component is our root component. So it calls app ts file, app component ts file. So this is how the Angular is working to show the components on the DOM. Now when the first time the component app component is being loaded, the first method is called is the constructor. But constructor is neither a lifecycle hook nor it is specific to Angular. It is a JavaScript feature. We know that. It is a method which is invoked when a class is created. Now here the component is using TypeScript. That itself is a superset of JavaScript. So all the JavaScript features are working in TypeScript. And this constructor feature is of JavaScript. Angular make use of constructor to inject dependencies. Like in constructor, when we create a constructor, let me see. We use it for dependency injection. That is when we create services that we will create in create soon. Those services are being injected here in constructor. That will show in that will cover soon. At this point, none of the components input properties are available to use. Neither its child components are constructed. Projects contents are also not available. So when first time the Angular is loaded, so first of all, a constructor is called, and at this point, all these properties are not yet initialized, and none of the variables, properties, and methods are instances. So in constructor, we will, if you write any code, it will using these variables, it will not be able to use that. So it is not advisable to use any coding in constructor. Hence, there is not much you can do in this method, and also it is recommended not to use it. Now, ng on changes. The Angular invokes ng on changes lifecycle hook whenever any data bound input property of the component or directive changes. Initializing the input properties is the first task that Angular carries during the change detection cycle. And if it detects any change in property, then it raises ng on changes hook. It does so during every change detection cycle. This hook is not raised if change detection does not detect any changes. This means like our decorators like view child and input properties. After constructor, these things are loaded on the DOM. So whenever any property that changes the DOM happens, any events that happens which cause the DOM to change, then this ng on changes calls. Input properties are those properties which are defined using input decorator. It is one of the ways by which parent communicates with the child component. Yes, so when first time this loads, the change ng on changes method is invoked. If we don't have this input property defined or used, then this will not appear. Then ng on it. This is for initialization. This loads only one time. The Angular raises the ng on init hook after it creates the component and updates its input properties. It raises it after the ng on changes hook. Like if a component has no input decorator, then first ng on it will be called. But if it has input property, then before when the DOM is created, first this input is called. So ng on changes hook is called, but if this is not, then directly it calls ng on init. ng on init is a function callback that function is called when all the properties are initialized. All these properties and methods are initialized, then it is called just for once when the that component is created for the first time. This hook is fired only once and immediately after its creation during the first change detection. This is perfect place where you want to add any initialization logic for your component. Here you have access to every input property of the component. Like this is a perfect place when we want to initialize something. Like we want to initialize something, we want to fetch data from the server to show in the component. Then we will do it in ng on it. method. To use it, we have to implement on init method, and we have to get ng on init method. So this will always invoke when the component is being called. Like if I sorry, if I am creating here a boolean, so show child component 1 to false. Yes, and we are putting it in child ng if for child. So if it gets true, then only the child component, child one component will be displayed. Ng if so is true, then only this app child will be displayed. Okay. And in here on this on click method, we are making it true. Child component equal to true. Now we will in child component, you can search any file in this by calling control plus P. This will open and you can type here any file you want to search. Child one. And here we have ng on it. Log I once ng on init called. So now when I will click here, the see here as we can see the boolean is false. Show child component boolean is false by default. So this child one component has not been loaded yet on the DOM. Now when with this we will click this, then this component has been loaded on the DOM in our parent app component class, and as soon as it appear here, we can see ng child one's ng on it called from child component.ts. So it this method will open when any component is being invoked for the first time. But note that none of the child components or projected content are available at this point. Hence, any properties we decorate with view child, view child, view children, content child, or content children will not be available to use. Now, the same thing we will do for. Now we will do this for our second component. Now, now we will also call here to see when our parent ng on it of our parent calls or child calls. You can guess which which ng on it will be loaded first, the parents or child. So we parents has been called. Okay. If I remove this, okay. First the parents ng on it is called and then child ng on it is called. That means first in the DOM the parent is being invoked, parent is being formed on the template side, and then its childs are being rendered. So if we are using any if parent is fetching data or fetching or using the child component, as we have seen here view child, where through this we are defined a child component here, and through this child we can access the child's all the properties. Then we will not be able to use this child in on it of the parent, because parent is called first and then this child is being invoked. So for this case, we use ng after view init, and that is why in the in the second method, so when we pass data from child to parent, we use this dot child method to assign to this title of parent in ng after view unit, because this method is called after all the childs of the parent are being invoked, then this ng after view unit is called. That we will see further. ng after view unit. ng after view unit hook is called after the component's view and all its child views are fully initialized. Angular also update the properties decorated with the view child and view children properties before raising this hook. The view here refers to the template of the current component and all its child components and directives. So as I just explained, ng after view init is called when the parent components, all the child components of the parent components are initialized, then ng after view init is called in the parent. This hook is called during the first change detection cycle, where Angular initializes the view for the first time. This also happens only once. At this point, all the lifecycle hook methods and change detection of all child components and directive are processed, and the component is completely ready. So all the when we are fetching any data from the child, it is suggestible. It is recommended that we use the logic inside ng after view unit to fetch data from the child. Then ng destroy. ng destroy is called when any component is removed from the DOM. Like let us let here we are keeping true, and on click it become we are removing it from the DOM on the click. Okay, and in child 2 we are implementing on destroy method, implementing the method on destroy. Console.log child or called. So here parent sentinel called and called. We will see on this click the second child will be removed from the DOM. So as it get removed, the child 2's on destroy is called. So we can use this method when we want to perform some cleanup logic, like we have subscribed to an event, or we want to clear some data from parent. Then all this task can be done in destroy method. You can perform any cleanup logic from component here. This is the correct place where you would like to unsubscribe observables and detach event handlers to avoid memory leaks. This observables, and that will come when you will deep dive in the Angular further. So as we have learned this NG live hooks, now we can continue with our data sharing module. Now it will be more easier to understand. So before break, we have passed data via event emitter, right? No, we have used the second method, child to parent, sharing data via view child. Now we will see child to data parent sharing data via output and event emitter. I think this was also done. Yes. So we have outputted on event and we have binded that event with uh, parent, that is here, message event. And when this event is emitted, we have called on message from child 2. And there in that method, yes, we have changed the title. As we on this click from data on event, on detecting an event, the child 2's message is being updated in the parent. Now unrelated components, data sharing between unrelated components, like now this both child 1 component, child 2 component, these are unrelated to each other, and there will be many components in our application that will not have any direct relationship like parent child. So passing data between them, we will use service to use this. Let's go through these ones. When passing data between components that lack a direct connection, such sibling, grandchildren, etc., you should use a shared service. When you have data that should always be in sync, I find the RxJS behavioral subject very useful. So we are using this RxJS behavioral subject module here. Here what we do is we have a data service. The data is stored in this service, and both the components, the parent components and the sibling components, use this data service to share data. This we can say this is a singleton class. You have understood in OOPS concept, and in Java you have understood about singleton class, that only one instant is been created. That this is same like service is same like this. It's only one instance is created. Like this component, we can create many instances of this. Like if I run here app child for 3 times, then I can use this component as many times as I want, and all these components are each individual instance. Like I can pass parent to child different data in this. I can have different data inside this and can reuse these components. But service is what? A service is singleton class. So it will have only one instance. So many components can use a service and have the data between them synced with the service. We will see this. You can also use a regular. Okay. Now let us see what's happening here. Here in data service, let us create first a service. To create a service, let us create first a folder in app called services. Oh, not here. in source. Now open it in the terminal, and to create a service here, we will write ng create generate as for service and the service name. So we are writing data ng generate as service. This will create service for us. It has created service.ts and service.spec.ts. We are not using any test cases here, so we will delete it. So this is the service class. It is basically a class only, but here the decorator is injectable, and inside it the metadata is provided in root. This is the syntax for service. To create a service, it is injectable. So when I told you earlier in constructor, we will use it for dependency injection. So if we want to use this data service in our application, in our component, we will here inject it like private data service, and we will here give our service data service class. So this is called dependency injection, and now we can access this data service anywhere in our application in methods. This dot data service dot, we can access any data that we create here, or any methods that are called in here. All the HTTP requests that we will use in connecting the backend will be called from a service class, and that will be called from component to service, and then service will call it to the backend. Now here they have what they are doing, they are creating the object of behavioral subject in data service. Create it. At source. Behavioral subject, and here we will pass our default message or anything we want. We have created a private message source of type behavioral subject, and we have created here a current message that is been we have created an observable. Now what is an observable? In Angular, observable is the object that expects something from the object that it is observing. Like here, current message into dot message source dot as observable. We have made this message source this current message is seeing message source as an observable. This current message is observing this message source and if any changes happens to this message source, this current message will be notified, and we have to subscribe this current message as we have given message source private. So we will change message source in our data service only, and when it is changed, uh, in every component where this current message is subscribed, it will get its current value. For that, we'll create a method change message string, and what this does is this dot message source dot we pass that message. Now what we will do, what we have done, we have passed on this method, we are updating this message source with the any message that we pass in this method. Now this method will be called from component 1, and there we will update a new message, and that message new message will be overwrite in message source that currently it is default message. And as soon as this is done, this current message is waiting for any change to be done in message source, as it is an observable of this message source. So we will subscribe this current message in another component where we want to fetch its data, and we will get from any component to another component. Let us do that. Like we want to pass data from child 1 to child 2. So in child 1's TS file, child 1 message. Here they have injected the data service, and on it this dot data service dot current message is subscribed. This is done in parent. Okay. First we have to inject dependency private. This data service. We have injected the data service, and now we will data service dot current message dot type any event that comes from and it is advisable now what does this do is this data service is that current message in data service is being subscribed, which is observable. This observable is subscribed. So whenever this method will call in any component and this message source is updated, this current message will be observed, and the change will reflect in this, and wherever this is subscribed, we can get that data through event. So what we'll do this, we will do is this dot current child 1 message will be updated. Event on message. Okay, now this is as this is observable, it is suggested to end this subscription in ng destroy. For that, we have to create a subscription object, and It is giving some syntax error, I think, due to Angular changes in Angular 12. Let us not clear it here. We'll pass. We will change this current source in child 2. We will see data being passed from child 2 to child 1. Here, this no data change messages. Okay. Here we have to do nothing much in constructor. We have to use data service. We have to inject the dependency. On pass data to this, we will change the message and we will write here hello from child 2. This method will be called on clicking a button that calls send message to sibling. So let us do what it does and then understand it. Okay, this child on one message is being. We have to. We will have to show it here so we can know. So this is sibling message, default message that this child one component have fetched from the data service, that it is here. On ng on it, this subscription has been called. So it will only called once, but it will be there until this is destroyed. So our default message from data service has been called here. Now while we click on this send message to sibling button, what will happen? This method will call. This method calls the data service and this calls this method change message, and we are passing here hello. We are statically passing this method. We can also pass any variable from here. So we are passing hello from child 2. Now what will this change message do? In the data service, it will update this message source, this private message source, that is behavioral subject. That is currently it is default message here. Default message. It will change it to the message we have passed. And as soon as this is being changed, this current message is observable for this message source. So this will also get updated, and we have subscribed this in child 1. We have subscribed it. This to data. No, sorry, child 2. Here. Yes, sorry. We have subscribed it in child 1 component, the data service dot current message dot subscribe event, and that event that is subscribed, that message that we will get, we have assigned it to the child 1 message. that we are currently showing. So as soon as I will click here, this changed from default message to hello from child 2. So like this way, this data passing works between parent to child, child to parent, and between unrelated components. Now, we've done Angular component lifecycle hooks. Now Angular forms module. Angular in any application, we need user interaction, and we use forms only. Every input and every button click, and in any application we need login, user registration. We want some input from user, and we want to show data. All this is done through forms module. Angular form module provides all the above services out of the box. It binds the form field to the Angular component class. It tracks changes made to the form field so that we can respond accordingly. The Angular forms provide the built-in validators to validate the inputs. Finally, it encapsulates all input fields to an object structure when the user submits the form. Though Angular takes two approaches to build the forms. One is template-driven forms approach, and another one is reactive forms or model-driven form approach. Mostly we will use reactive forms, but let us see both. Template-driven forms approach. In template-driven approach is the easiest way to build the Angular forms. The logic of the form is placed in the template, like it is when we use the ng model, when we are using it separately, like this button and any input field we had used, this is being called in template. Yeah, like this. If I write here form, these two fields, input and form inside frame, then this has become a template form. Simple, that is used in HTML. One. And if I here give type equal to submit, and here we have to bind, I have to bind ng submit event, and will call on submit method that will create in our HTML. So this is how simple template form works. I pass here this form 1. So now I will click here, and what happened is on this click button. Okay, I have to remove this. On click event, this is submit type. So this form will automatically detect if the button click is type submit, then this form will automatically call this event ng submit. And as this event is called, the object that the property method that is bind to this event will be called on submit, and in on submit we have passed this form in the parameter and we have printed that form here. So as we have clicked here, the form is being printed. You have to write here ng form. Now when I click here, okay, now this gives us form in form object. Here we can see when we write here hello and clicked, it gave us all these value properties like errors, null, and touched, false. Here status valid, as we have not written here any validation form, so it is valid by default. Just like this, we will see model driven form. Template form is not used much in development because model driven forms gives much more better structure and error handlings ways. In the reactive forms or model driven approach, the logic of the form is defined in the component as an object. The model driven approach has more benefits as it makes the testing of the component easier. Now, building blocks of Angular forms. A form control. A form control represents a single input field in an Angular form. Consider a simple text input. This is a single text input. The above input field is created using form control as shown below. In this is how reactive form works. We have created input here and then we create the form control object in the TS file like this. Then you can retrieve the current value in the input field using the value property first name.value. We will see this. You can check the validation status of first name element as shown below. First name errors dirty like this. Let us try this. Form group. A form group is a collection of form controls. Often from forms have more than one field. It is helpful to have simple way to manage the form controls together. Like for example, we have here form for address, that is city, street and pin code. Now we can group these input fields under the group address as shown below. Let us create an let us create a new form. We will for reactive forms we have to give it like this ng at the submit event. Create my form group. We always use form group, as form is have more than one form control elements in it. So form inside it, uh, the first name control. First name, last. Let us take these two fields. Now we have bind this form group to this form group property of form, and let us create an ng on submit method. Let have your first input text, and here we give form control name. It is the field we want to add. Done. So it is. Yes, and we have to, for using form group, we have to import reactive forms module in app.modules app. It's form equal to my form. Okay, we have not defined any value here.
यहाँ नहीं आया।
Text mistake. Okay. So now okay, now this is our form. Uh, so inside child 1, we have a form. Here we write and submit it. We get our checked that has this object has controls. Now this individual this input is a form control. This last name is another form control, and such like this we can have multiple form controls, and using this as a group as single object we have created a form group. We have created here of my form of type from group. Its syntax is like we create new form group, and inside it we create object of form controls like first name is equal to new form control. And here we give it by default value. Like if I give right here default value, and initialize, I have to do this. Now we are in NG on it. We are initializing the form. We have to do the same approach. Here we only have to do this, but in Angular 12 it is giving error. That's why I have done this here. So we init our form, initialize our form in ng on it method. So here if I write default like enter your name, player name. So this will be automatically updated here. And we have bind this my form with the reactive module form here. This form, and this is the syntax form group in the G capital equal to this my form. and we have bind ng submit event to call this ng submit method. Whenever the any button inside this form with type submit is called. So we have created two input fields here, first name and last name. This both are form control, as we have given here name, form control name. In template driven form, we used to write here ng model, two-way binding, that we do through simple HTML form. In reactive form, we can we use more reactive modules form, because we have features like form group and all, which make us our work easier. So we define form control name, which is a unique property of this form group. So this is how this is binded to our PS class, and this is how it works. Like fill the form and click submit. Then here in controls, in form group, in controls, we can see first name and last name that we have added, and inside first name value is Virat, we can see, and here status is valid because we have not provided any validation here. To provide validation, we have to write here after inside new form control, the first expression is your value, default value. Then here we can write we can write here validation. For that we have to call validators, and here we have all these validation like email, max length, minimum length, pattern. We can give RJ regular expression patterns, required, true, required. Like if I do validators or required, then this this form control will give us invalid status if we submit form without filling this form, and this form control will give us false invalid validation. This will give true because we have not applied anything here. And this form control, if any of the form control is not valid, then the form status is also invalid. Let us see it here. I am clearing it and I am only writing the last name and submitting it. Then we can see the status is being invalid because in controls first name is invalid because in errors we can see required true is there, but we have kept it empty, and the second one will be valid because there we don't have any validation there, but overall the form group returns us invalid. So now this we can use these things we can use for making our form responsive. Like when I'm not filling any value and clicking submit, I can show here a message that please fill the first name. Let's do that. Inside input method, I will write here file color red is enter name. This will be true RNG if. This we will show only when this my form. This form control first name is false. So to call that my form dot control bracket dot in dot valid is false. And in this is the syntax to call it, and in controls we will write the form controls name. So when I enter empty, this is responsive. As I say, I write anything inside it, so it is immediately, this is two-way binded form control group. No, sorry. Yes, it is two-way binded by default. And when I write it here anything, this its value changes in the first name form control. But as soon as I remove it, this property becomes true, because the controls in my form group, the control name is first name becomes valid is false. This become false. So this become false. So I have marked exclamation ahead of it. So false false become true. So this become trues. And we can also make this button disable. Now this is for per control. This is for individual, like this message is for first name. Same we can do it for last name. And for the submit method, we can call disable method. Disabled, and we will bind it to animation my form is valid. So if my form valid is false, then this submit button will be disabled. As you can see, as soon as I empty this, the submit becomes disabled. Now as soon as I will write anything, the submit buttons become enabled. So we can restrict user and so make our what we say form responsive to the user. I have actually this is my first presentation too, so I have no this is bit messy, but you can try these functions by yourself, and you can also search on Google and YouTube about Angular tutorials. All this will be, you can see these subjects with more clarity, and you can try on your own, and you can create. I recommend you to try it by yourself and try to create like this, create forms and play with this data mining, event binding. So you will be familiar with it, and you can create many more applications like this. I have shown you some basics how it actually works, and using this we can be in software development. We create projects using such subjects only. These are the basics. As you study further, we can create big applications like this. So if you have any doubt or you want to repeat me some steps or any topic you didn't get clarity properly, I can repeat that for you.
Hello, sir. I have one question.
Yes.
So, what is preferred in the market, Angular or Vue? Yes.
Actually, Angular gives you more structured what we call framework. Angular is preferable for big applications that handles which is a large size applications. Vue, React, these applications are also good, but they are preferable for small projects or medium sized projects. what I have known so far. Because
Okay.
Angular gives you a better architecture to maintain the modules, components, and large size application what we require scalability and all. React is also good, Vue is also good, but for I have seen that for large applications, Angular people are more preferring the Angular.
Okay. Okay. Any student is having any question? Yes. Yes. Any
Okay.
question? Yes, please.
The one topic is remaining routing that I will also cover. I forgot about that. Okay. So now this is we are all doing this in a single page only, right? Now to route from like this is a component and we have used this parent component and we have used two child components. But we want to use another component where we can go to that component through routing. So for routing, let us create a new component. Create a new component ng generate paste. Okay. Now now to give path to this test component, we don't want to use this component as any child component. We want to use it as a what we say routing. Like in application, what is there? Like some navigation is fixed in the DOM, then footer is fixed, and the portion between this it changes on routing. Generally, this is the scenario. And inside that routing, like on this URL, the basic URL, we can see the app module getting loaded. Now we want to see another a component that is coming through routing. So for that, we have to give here a path, app routing path, give it name test, and that we will load component test component. Now when we will call here, let's test. Okay, yes, it worked. So all the routing come from the router outlet. Here you can see a router outlet template. This HTML tag is same like child component only. Like when we give here the child component tag, the child will load it. But the router outlet is what this router outlet gets the routing of our URL, our web page, and accordingly in application routing files, routing modules, all the paths that are defined here will get called. Like when I write test here, /test. So this test is being called. This called, and which component is loaded? Test component. Test component that we created. So this main TS is called and its HTML is rendered. So at down you can see test works. At back it was not there. when it's localhost 420. So this comes here through router outlet. This router outlet routing is important for routing, and it will all the logic would be done inside this, like creating any component that we want to route. Like this is this all data that we want to keep static, we can keep here. Okay. Okay, if you want have any doubt or you didn't understand any or are unclear, you can tell me. I can repeat it for you. Any topic.
Okay, so I think students have become master now in AngularJS. They are not having any doubts. Okay, any doubt apart from this AngularJS regarding a job or industry? You can ask, please, your personal
Yes.
question regarding technology. Okay, so if you don't have any doubts, so we can end our session, today's session. Let us see how much you score in MCQ exam. So MCQ exam link will be shared in the chat box only. So please remain present here. Meanwhile, I thank you, Yash, for conducting this session and giving knowledge to our students on AngularJS, as this is the part of their curriculum. So this is very helpful. This will be very helpful for them.
Yes, and also thank you to your college and university to give me this opportunity. Actually, I can explain better, but this is my first time, so the communication I can't. I think I was lacking there, but
No, but
it's
I think technologically, this technical wise students have understood these things. So
yes,
even if students have had any problem, they can contact you. You can give your email ID to them.
yes, sure.
Yes. So I'll
My
send,
ha.
or else you can provide me. I will share with them.
Okay.
Yes.
You can share my email ID with
Yes.
students. If they
Okay.
have any doubt or they can contact me anytime.
Okay. 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 Thank you. So we can end this session now. Students, please stay here.
Okay. So I'm leaving now.
Yes, sir. Yes. Thank you so much.